Welcome back. So we try to understand this one with the example of a child scoring high mark or low mark in exam, the grades. This one, just before concluding the previous session, we tried to understand, as proposed by Binal, that visualization and achieving Mercedes, quote unquote. So yes, Binal, are you saying the similar thing? What was interpreted, or you were saying something else?
No, I had not even. I was processing while I was saying it, because the 5, I mean, 5 generally would come when there is justification or some kind of excuses, and so I was still figuring out the pseudo 2 that was coming about, and I had not been able to pinpoint what exactly it could be. Like, how would that person perceive that particular sensation? So, which you put it into words, that the person may feel satisfied that from the action of having got the mercy.
Yes. Right. So basically, you see the pattern or the direction of the arrow of number 2 and number 5 are towards perception. Right. So naturally, the perception comes from the sensation, which is a justified natural perception. When it is coming from action, that means we are trying to establish that action is justified or action was not justified whatsoever, giving excuse or justification. That is an extra effort that we put in. It needs a lot of energy to justify or give excuse of an action. So it's much more energy that is needed. First of all, for an action, you need to invest some sort of energy, at least. Now, for justification and excuse, it's a multifolded energy that needs to be invested. When we go to bring a perception out of an action, that is why it is an irrational route. It's a reverse conflicting route. Now, here, number 2 looks like it is coming from sensation. So the Mercedes example, the individual is saying that, see, my satisfaction is my sensation. After owning the Mercedes, I am satisfied. And that satisfaction is the justification of this particular phenomena, which is basically an action that you are justifying. That I have achieved Mercedes, and this is the success actually to be considered, and hence it is a justified action. It is not the sensation which is being claimed for the whole phenomena. It is an action which is being justified. Now the third one.
For that particular
Yes.
person, this may be true.
Yes, he is
That
defining
particular-
that see, true. It is a reality of that individual. There's no question about it. It is a reality for that individual, and that reality is made by him. If it is a made reality, then it is, how can it be truth? He has made it for himself, and he is claiming that he is satisfied.
Particular example, what would be the truth? Like
Yes, the truth is the questioning.
in this particular
Truth is
example.
questioning the self, that is it the success of life? Owning a Mercedes is the success? Really? Really, can it be the success? This questioning is the truth, will reveal a lot of truth. What is that truth? We cannot measure it. Overall truth is always immeasurable. Yes, Renuka, you were saying something.
Yeah. So if I suppose I attend this pure nature cure workshop, and now I am with an idea that natural food is very good for me, and natural food is necessary for my health. So then I start consuming natural food. So then, and then of course I become healthier also in turn. So would you say that it is again driven by P3, P2, like the reverse?
Yes. Yes.
So then
So here
it
actually
can never be
lot of
to the good.
questions are not asked in this total narration, that what exactly do you mean by healthier, being healthier? And what is your take when you are introduced with these proposals of natural food? What is your actual understanding out of it? Are you just taking it as a prescription, or you probed into, you tried to unfold it on your own, then find some truth by yourself or not? These all things need to be touched.
So
Otherwise,
and
it's
in case I've not probed,
yes.
then would it mean that the food will not be really as good for me as like I've kind of psyched myself, suppose that natural food is very good, so raw food is very good. Now I'm eating a lot of raw food, and so generally body cleansing is happening, and I feel good. So but I started with a idea that this could be good, and I liked it, and because also I had this idea, I liked it more. So it's
Yes.
kind of a loop also,
Yes, yes.
because
This is the
now I
visualization
have a
loop.
attraction towards this food only. I don't like the fried food. So would you say that it is, but at the same time, it is also benefiting me? It is actually helping, matlab, uh, in the real, like I really feel good. So I'm just taking this as an example. So how, and I'm eating only this.
Yes.
Maybe not with a strict thing that I'll not eat, but maximum I'm eating this. Then how would you interpret it? Is it?
Yes, yes, yes. So this is actually coincidentally, Renuka brought the example of 6 equals to 3. Let's try and understand. So what Renuka is saying, that I understood it when it is being proposed, that the natural food is the fruits. And I took action with that perception. I took an action with that perception, and I did not question that perception. That's what you are saying, Renuka? If I am interpreting.
Maybe I did not question. I just,
right,
yeah.
right.
And
so,
but
so you're saying that I took an action with the perception being proposed without questioning. That's what you're saying?
And here questioning means when I'm taking the action, I'm sort of questioning only. With the question,
yes, that's what is the question. That's what is the question, that how am I taking this action? If I am taking that action dot to dot, whatever is proposed, then I'm not questioning. I'm just repeating. I'm just replicating the proposal. Absolutely dot to dot. I'm just replicating it into action. So here is the confusion. Yes.
Experiential learning, one just goes by the experience without really, and that could be
and keeps modifying the action, actually keeps modifying the action, however subtle it may be. That is what is an increasing. Yes, Renuka.
But one could never like dot to dot, no one would always follow. It would always be some.
That's what one needs to respond. So if one is not following dot to dot, that means what is there? Is it a remorse that I am not able to follow it dot to dot, or it's okay that I am not following dot to dot? What is the sensation of that individual?
Are you saying sensation of the individual, or
yes,
perception?
When you are proposing that someone cannot follow dot to dot, then that someone who is not able to follow dot to dot, how that individual is looking at this phenomena, that I am not able to follow dot to dot. Is there a remorse, however subtle, or is it okay not to follow dot to dot?
One would also like whatever is given, one would also like
Yes, yes.
following to the T is very difficult.
No, that's a difficult. I understand that. I understand that.
It is also checking out and then doing it, keep like
Yes.
trying and doing.
Yes, Renuka. Then it is an inquisitive trial, experiential learning. What Binal said. If there is a remorse that why am I not able to follow dot to dot? Then it is a confusing loop. That there is an intention to follow somebody blindly, but I'm not able to follow, which is very obvious, as you are saying, and we understand that. But after not being able to follow dot to dot, what is the state of sensation of that individual? It's very deep. We need to explore that. You know, like if there is a remorse that I would have followed dot to dot, then it is a blind following that one is trying to opt and failing, which is an obvious thing. But what is the inner intention? And there is the confusion of 6 and 3. It may look like that I'm taking an action from the perception side, but the moment I'm trying to follow it dot to dot, it is not the perception, it has become your sensation. Because it has been concluded beforehand that I must follow it dot to dot. Are you able to comprehend?
No.
When one is okay. Yes, we're coming to Dr. Kaur. When one is okay to get the perception from someone and then probe into that dot to dot not following, and you are okay with it. You don't have any remorse of not following dot to dot.
Maybe then, I'm not following dot to dot because that I don't, because of my conditioning. Maybe I'm not following because of my conditioning, because of my previous habits.
But you have an intention to follow dot to dot. But you are saying that you have an intention to follow dot to dot. Are you saying that?
Maybe I am trying to, but not following.
Yes.
Dot to dot.
Trying to means you are saying that you have an intention to follow dot to dot.
Yes. Okay.
Right? You are saying that you have an intention. Yes, that's fine. But what is your intention here? Your intention is
my intention is to follow dot to dot.
Yes. Then you are doing this.
Remorse as well.
Pardon?
But I don't have remorse as well.
No, that's a language negotiation that you are doing. Both cannot be possible. If you have an intention to follow dot to dot, and not following will definitely bring some remorse. And you may be bargaining that, okay, this remorse I'm not sensing, it's fine. Like all those bargaining can go on. But when you have intention to follow dot to dot without any question, that time not following will bring naturally some remorse, however subtle it is. Are we able to comprehend this phenomena, this psychological phenomena?
Yeah.
And it is an example of the confusion of perception, whereas it is actually a sensation. So confusion of sensation as perception. 6 equals to 3. 6 and 3, just focus on the arrows 6 and 3, which are targeting an action. Now, what is the source of the action? We claim that it is the mental understanding. For example, if we take another example of this 6 equals to 3, suppose I am proactive to help someone. I'm proactive to help someone. we are repeatedly discussing this thing, that how can I help my child? How can I help my beloved who is leading an irrational life, or whatsoever the choices of that individual. So I am proactive to help that individual. What is the meaning of this proactive helping? That without that individual is asking the help, I am helping that individual. Now, what excuse that I give of this action is that I understand that he needs help. I understand that he needs help. That means I am actually proposing that from my perception, I am taking this action. I understand that he needs help. Actually, it is my conclusion that he needs help. It is not my understanding. It is my obsession that I must help him. It is not at all an understanding, because if I understand help, then I understand that nobody can be helped unless it is proactively asked. Otherwise, it will be utterly underestimating of that individual's state of being, whom I am claiming to help. Are we able to comprehend this?
Yes.
So a sensation being confused as perception. A sensation being confused as perception, which is 6 equals to 3. So these are the three confusing, conflicting loops. Now, I think we must proceed for today's topics. Though you have started already, informally you have started, and that's the beauty of inquiring conversation. The topics are already touched. Yes, Dr. Kaur, you were saying something. I think I suppressed that question.
No, it got revealed mostly.
Okay, okay.
This conclusion is also a physiological sensation. Here you mentioned
Yes,
that my desire to help
yes,
was not just a perception, it was
yes,
a conclusion.
yes,
So conclusion, is it a sensation?
yes. Conclusion is only the sensation. Whatever conclusion that we make, if it is momentary or perennial, repeating, both the conclusions are sensation only.
They're not psychological.
No. When it is in the psychological domain, that's a confusion of mind. Unless we understand mind, otherwise is a beautiful capability of any organism for that matter, and for human being, it's a tremendous possibility. But the confusion of sensation as psychological perception is the primary confusion of the mind. When we involve physiological sensation into our perception, then mind is perennially overburdened in vicious cycles because of the repeating loops. Yes.
But this is form and that is formless. How would it influence in such a manner?
Because this form, I'm achieving myself out of a formless. This is basically gives a pseudo sense of pleasure of achieving a formless out of form, which repeats in itself. You know, so as if I'm creating something out of nowhere. It's a great achievement, gives a pseudo sense of achievement, you know. The sensation which is coming from the perception. That is why we are so prone to believe. You know, we'll reveal and we'll try to explore together what is the reason of having this kind of suppressed inquiry. Are you able to get some sort of? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah.
And the Renuka example which she gave, that perception about the understanding about the nature cure and the action taken from the perception and the action taken through the sensation and that action, they will be totally different.
Yes. Yes. So here, ideally what happens, you know, I have this understanding of nature cure or natural living. And I have the availability of all options in front of me. And I'm looking at every option, and simultaneously, I'm looking at my sensation also that is occurring with the confrontation of each option. And as I keep looking onto my sensation, if it is an irrational sensation, it will get dissolved then and there. So ultimately, when I am relieved of these all irrational sensation, then the natural selection will come up. And naturally, we are structured to get attracted towards fruits when we are hungry. If there is no influence at all, and we have given with the options available physically in front of us, then we are naturally crafted to get attracted towards food, which is the least effort that we have to put, to consume, to assimilate everything. And that is why the natural conservation happens. Are you able to comprehend this? Like, instead of putting it as a prescriptive option, if I'm just bringing the freedom about the natural selection, then natural selection ought to happen. Right. So today's tentative topics. So we went up to the impact of conflicts, which was the last topic we discussed this. Now we'll try and understand the meaning of suppression of conflict. Like, when we understand all these conflicts, then there is a possibility of intending a suppression about the conflict. So we'll try and understand what is the meaning of suppression of conflict and what is the impact of the suppression of conflict also. When we understand the conflict and we go for suppressing the conflict, then what happens? Now, on the other side, conflict is a problem. Conflict is a discomfort. So structurally, there is a knack in every organism or every phenomena in nature to get out of conflict. So how that dissolving of conflict happens, that we'll try to understand in the next topic. Then we'll dive deeper into understanding the inquiry in next few topics. That includes the innate knack of inquiry, whether inquiry needs to be learned or inquiry is an innate knack. What is the meaning of inquiry exactly? Now, why are we talking about the choicelessness repeatedly? What is the connection between the choicelessness or agendalessness with inquiry? The agendalessness of inquiry. Then again, why at all these all discussions are needed about inquiry? Because we are subject to suppressing inquiry conventionally. We'll try and understand that phenomena also, why at all the inquiry gets suppressed, primarily for human being. Then we'll try and understand how the inquiry can be reinstated, or rather this term can be is a little agenda based, but how the inquiry gets reinstated on its own. So then we'll go into a little bit of understanding of nature cure proposals, into observing the sensation and the roots of the sensation and the path or the route of the sensation both. So let's start with the suppression of conflicts. Now, see, when we understand the reverse order or the conflicting order, then it's a natural natural instinct or progression rather, that we must get rid of conflict now. Then we start strategizing. We start strategizing how we can escape a conflict. Now, as we understood the three domains of executions in terms of action, sensation, and perception, we try to bring changes in these. How? In the route of escaping, we try to bring some modification in the action. And that action becomes a fake action, because merely modifying the action cannot bring a change in the complete reverse order. It is just an additional task that we put onto ourselves when we plan an action to escape a conflict. For example, this intention to help. Like human being, this particular phenomena is very commonly seen, the philanthropy, that I must help someone. So there are a lot of ideation and proposals that one must help others and all these proposals, and people go proactive to helping people. Now, suppose we discuss the phenomena of proactive help and how innervating it for the person who is helping or for the person who is being helped. When we try to explore that time, action wise, we might stop this proactive initiatives, but internally I'm burning with the desire to help, because I'm convinced that I must help, irrespective of the receiver's state of being. So this is just because the inquiry has not been done about the whole phenomena of how this helping happens and how the helping is received. So this is an imposition of a modification of an act. That's a way to escape the conflict for time being, because escaping directly will bring a short-term relief from the conflict, might bring, but may not bring also many times. Then second is the denying the sensation. Are you able to comprehend the example that has been shared? Shanta ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah.
Please raise your question or stop me whenever it's getting confused or you're thinking that it needs to be reflected upon. So please do so. Yes. So the second escaping route is the denying of sensation. Denying of sensation. How? That the sensation is very much personal thing. That when I have some sensation towards something, I have some consistent. What is an obsession? May I ask the question, what is an obsession? How do we define obsession?
Obsession is the sensation which is like repetitive. It is,
yes.
It is not taking any gap.
Yes.
It is not relaxing. So obsessively sensing it and probing to take some action about it. I mean,
pushing me to take some action.
Pushing, yeah.
Yes. So sensation is repeated. The obsession is a repeated sensation. Obsession is a repeated sensation within me. That means there is a chemical change ongoing within me, which is pushing me to take some action. Considering that action will bring some solution, whatever the problem that I have imagined, this particular action will bring a solution for that problem. Now, here the multi-layers of ideas that can be observed. To begin with, the interpretation of problem, which which in all the cases, if we dive deep, then we'll find that the problem that we are considering to be solved directly is just a symptom, is just a part of it. It's not the whole gamut. And just doing a patchwork of solving it is another imagination and considering something as a solution. So this aspect of obsession is an impact of imagination and assumption. And we have already mathematically seen the loop of P3, P2. And then comes the intellectualizing the perception. It's a over dialectics, over logical explanation that we start giving, which is actually trying to justify a conflict. That this conflict is so common in many people, for the mass of people, this conflict is so common. So this is natural and this is obvious. And we try to give a lot of intellectualized, again, conclusions. So there is a mixing of perception, sensation, obviously, while intellectualizing any perception being proposed. So these are the three routes, loosely we can propose in escaping conflict.
In this denying sensation, when the person is repeatedly sensing the sensation, then why would there be a denial? Because that is...
Yes, so that denial is another suppression. Like, suppose I'm saying that I don't have a sensation. For example, when we were discussing with Renuka about that following dot to dot is my intention. My intention, when she was clearly sharing that her intention is to follow dot to dot. Now, parallelly, she is saying that if she doesn't follow, then it doesn't bring any feedback, which is absolutely a contradictory thing. If one is having this intention, which is actually a sensation, when somebody decides to follow someone dot to dot, that's a sensational decision, which is a sensation by itself. Now, if someone fails to do so, then there has to be some feel bad, because there is an intention to do something, but it is not fulfilling, then it will definitely, obviously bring some feedback. Now, if I'm denying that, sensation, that is a trial of escaping the conflict. I'm endeavoring through some patchwork to escape a conflict. Yes.
So why is there, where the person is genuinely not feeling any sensation? Like, for that, I mean, their reality is that, they may think that when they are trying to probe into it, that there is actually no sensation, but it may be so. Is it because there is some desensitization, or what could be the reason behind this?
That needs to be explored individually and very closely. And this exploration is absolutely internal exploration by that individual. Observing that, for example, if we pick up these two comments, that I have an intention to follow dot to dot, but if I don't, so this is the first statement, and the second statement is that if I cannot follow dot to dot, I don't feel bad. Now, if I can observe both the statement closely and corresponding sensation when I observe both the statements, that will reveal a lot of things, where the suppression happens, and multi-layer suppressions we actually subject ourselves to in terms of sensation, mainly denying the sensation, that I am having some ideated sensation, but I am in denial completely. That will bring, so why at all I deny? That has got another idea, another layer of idea. So it brings another loop. The more we actually identify this, the more proneness or the natural movement of the dissolution can happen. So let's rejoin and